People are in the room. I didn't even notice. Okay, hello. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
All right, who is here? Darren, Erwin, and Tech. Let's see. All right, Darren, where are you from? Talk to me.
You hear me?
Yeah, Erwin?
Yeah.
Okay, where are you from?
I'm originally from Fairfield, California, but I'm here in LA.
Got it. Okay, nice. How's it been the pandemic for you? You like being in LA? Like, what's the sitch up there?
It's normal, man. Here in LA is pretty normal. Nothing's really changed. Um, you know, I started short term in 2020, so right right in the pandemic, and was
Yeah,
actually fortunate enough to kind of grow during the pandemic, so it didn't really affect me too much. I mean, uh, more so now it's like, getting towards the end of the year. I think that right now it's a little slower, but still going strong.
yeah, Nelson.
Hey Nelson, how's it going? Yeah, I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area.
What do you do in the San Francisco Bay Area?
I work in biotech, and yeah, primarily just really interested in passive investing, I guess syndications and different real estate options. Obviously, investing in Bay Area is
Yeah.
awful for cash flow and things. So
Yeah,
yeah, I'm not. I mean, I thought about the turnkey stuff out of state, but it just seemed obviously you get to a point it's just hard to manage and juggle. So yeah, just
yeah,
looking at the passive options for now.
yeah. Syndication is definitely the most passive out of all of them. There's also stocks. But you want something more stable, yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
I
always
mean,
hard. Yeah,
I drank the Kool-Aid for a long time, did that. And it's just like, I don't know, just something a little bit more appealing with real assets, more tangible,
got it.
versus just the emotions of the market and
Yeah.
seemingly lack of control there.
I actually was doing that for a while as well. But then I found the world of private equity, pre-IPO stocks. And so I'm a little bit back in the tech space in stocks. Um, it's really interesting. There's a couple people who I've met now. I didn't realize there's like a whole underworld. It's basically like syndications, but they have like stocks in Plaid or SpaceX, and you can just buy from like brokers and you purchase the equity, and like this thing goes up like 10 or 11 times in like the 6 to 12 months before it IPOs. And so that's something that I found
Wow.
also really interesting. So yeah, let me know if you want access to tech IPO stocks.
Sure. I mean, they're pretty abundant around here. So yeah, maybe I'll talk to you a little bit after about that, just because to get a little bit more insight about that. But yeah, I've also been meaning to go to the meetups, but it's a little bit hard. But hopefully next meetup Bay Area, try to make it out there.
Yeah. Is pre-IPO stocks that easy to get in the Bay Area?
No, I'm just saying, that's always the buzz when you're,
oh, right,
conversations around the area.
Yeah.
Wait, Nelson, so I actually don't know much about your backstory. So did you also do a lot of like turnkey out of state stuff? Or are you trying to do local stuff?
I house hacked. Yeah, I was
Okay.
I had a downgrade from New York to Chicago after school, and so I was like, what am I gonna do out here in like middle of the USA? And I was like, well, the only thing I can't do in California and New York was like real estate. And so that gave me enough time and like enough insight to be like, you know what, it's time to pull the trigger. I did a 4-unit house, hacked it. I live in the basement. It was a half basement actually, like the one in Parasite, where like the windows are just slightly above the ground.
They're just looking at people's shins and feet
yeah,
go by.
it was a lot of feet. Yeah, that's my thing. And so that was my first property. I house hacked that one. I put 20 grand down because I did the FHA or owner, whatever thing with it. And I hated it, but that taught me I need to go bigger so I don't have to become my own property manager. I had both I had both like a heroin addict and someone who's a straight Nazi.
Oh,
I
wow.
thought he was like just, he was bald, but turns out he was like skinhead bald. And so he would like curse out any of the contractors if they were like brown, for example. He would just like shout at them. And so, that got to be really annoying to deal with. And I actually liked the heroin junkie better because he was at least quiet and paid rent on time. So
Hilarious.
that is my origin story, my supervillain origin story. And now I raise rent on people because I evict them so I don't have to deal with them again. Okay, we got another minute before we're going to start. I'm actually right now in Charleston. If anyone else is out there has food wrecks, I'll gladly take them. I'm actually where I thought I would never be again. I'm in a cubicle right now. I'm here meeting up with some people who employ me as a consultant for their commercial data science, or for data science stuff for their commercial real estate firm. So I am just kissing butt right now. That's really it. It's all weekend. Smack, smack. Okay. Isaac, you have a face. Where are you from? I haven't talked to you before.
Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you as well, Isaac.
I'm in Lexington, Kentucky.
Lexington, Kentucky. Oh, okay. My aunt, that's like a mom's sister, is out there. So like, yeah, that's what part of Lexington? Are you near UK?
Oh yes, yeah. I got a PhD at UK.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, you are a data scientist.
Yeah, I'm a data scientist. I do math for people who raise your rent, and so they can be more efficient at raising rent.
That'll be something I'll be interested in because my position is also a data scientist.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And I analyze like opioid prescription patterns in America and things like that. So I'm a biomedical type of biostatistician type of job. So
okay, nice. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I was actually robotics and mechanical design for a long time, and then real estate kind of took over my life for a while. And then someone was like, "What if I paid you and you could do real estate?" And I was like, "What about if you paid me more than if I was working at my old job?" And then they were like, "Deal." And so I've been kind of sucked into the world of commercial data science contracting, and I actually am starting to cut down on some of it. It's taken a bit too much time for me. Chris, did you get a new camera? What? It's so high definition. What is? Cut down on some of it. It's taken a bit too much time for me. Chris, did you get a new camera? What? It's so high definition. You're playing some music in the background, Chris.
Oh, there's an echo. Let me see.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. You should not do that. Hold.
Yeah.
I know why. Hold on.
Okay. Well, is it working yet, Chris? You good?
No, give me a sec. I think there's. Hang on.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a slight echo. I think you're playing the video in the back. All right. In the meantime, Lexington, Kentucky, I hear it is boring out there. Is there anything? Is there anything that you enjoy doing in Lexington?
I mean, Lexington is better than any other part of Lexington. I mean, Kentucky.
It's true. It's true.
So, yeah. Well, I mean, it's really nothing.
I like your mindset about how it could be worse. So.
I mean, in America, unless you're in like California or New York, or I mean, I guess that's it. Other places, that's like nothing. But I'm originally from Tokyo, so surely like all these places are more boring than Tokyo. But,
that's true. I miss Japanese food. That's definitely something I wish I could go back. Yeah, that's I would consider living in Japan for like a year or two, just like eating sushi every day until I get mercury poisoning, at which point I'll have to be shipped back into the US. But that's okay. Is it working yet, Chris? You good?
Are you guys hearing echo this time?
Nope, better. All right.
Okay.
Perfect. Sounds good.
All right,
let's get started then. Yeah, it's 8:08. We're a little bit late, but I wanted to invite my friend, Chris Tao. He is managing 700 units, and he's somebody I've known for 2 years now. So I've known Chris for quite a while, and it's really cool to see how big he's grown and how much he scaled his business. He used to work at Dell and HP, right? Did you also do HP? Yeah. And he was a manager there for a long time before he realized, oh, they can just cut me because they're trying to save money. And that happened enough times where he was like, I can't do this anymore. And that's when he started doing commercial real estate. And so Chris is somebody who left a W-2 in order to focus on the business, which is kind of the opposite of what happened last week. So without further ado, I kind of wanted to give an intro for Chris and have you kind of explain your origin story and what it is that you do to everyone, I guess, in the group.
Great. Well, thank you, Nelson, for having me on the show. So my story is pretty common for a lot of people, but I kind of like to give a different light into the subject. So kind of started with the IT career for about 22 years, started as a .NET developer through Microsoft. I mean, I still remember the days that I used to program in Palm Pilot when they were still green screens. So now we know Palm Pilot is no longer that popular anymore, is now iPhone. So, but that's how far ago I started doing development. Came through the ladder as I climbed, finally reached to the people management level. And that's when I realized the ladder is leaning towards the wrong building. What I mean by that is, once you get into people management, now everything you know before, it's completely changed. At a management level, they always tell you it's all about revenue and how much you bring to the organization. So before that, I was kind of following the mentality, if I do my best, outperform everybody, and then I will always be rewarded for 10%, 12% bonuses every year, right? And then hopefully I get to a senior position, get more salary. And that's what I was going for, is to provide a better life for myself and for my family. But then when you get to management, it's all about profitability. And that's when I really got slapped in the face to say, hey, it's really revenue minus expense. So if you're not part of the sales team, which what you do brings revenue to the company, you are in fact just an expense, right? So unfortunately, and I realized this through my personal experience, 2008, 2009, Dell hit a slump, and we all know what happened in 08, 09. So I went through a Dell layoff, then went to work for HP, and then HP had a financial issue. Company split into 3 different ways: HPE, HBI, and DXC. So as part of a company split, they look at how to streamline and reduce costs. So got laid off again. And I realized over time, each time I get laid off, it's harder to get a job as I get older. So that's kind of like the key takeaway, because as you get older, we have more liabilities now. I have 4 kids, so I got to think about college. How am I going to pay for that? And you can't do that if you have to worry about where the source of income can be, right? And I see a lot of colleagues that does the same thing, putting money on a 401k, this and that. Well, when you have a major market movement, as we see in 09 and even 2020, those kind of investments out of your control, right? Everything is good, and then it goes away. I like to also bring up, if this might be, some of you guys might know, Enron. If you guys know Enron, Enron was a big energy company in Houston, Texas. Well, they were caught with financial fraud. Anyone who had company stock was not allowed to sell like in the first 9 months when the news broke out, while all the executives was able to sell. And by the time everything settled, that stock went to, I want to say was $90 down to $1 in 12 months time. I mean, if you had all your money in that company stock, your livelihood just disappear and you're locked out for the first 9 months, right? So that's kind of extreme example of how bad it can be and how quickly it can be out of control if you're not having a better control of your life and your destiny. And that's when I started looking at, okay, what are some of the things that people must have, right? Medicine, water, shelter, social, and so on and so forth. Can't touch water because that's Coca-Cola. Food, I'm not an HEB, too late to start something like that. And the only thing I can really think about is real estate, because everybody needs a roof over their head, right? No matter how good or how bad, there's only two ways to have real estate, roof over your head. Either you rent it or you buy it. Now,
so fun fact in this, if people look this up, rent values have never gone down on average. If you look across the graph nationally, it's kind of gone up, and then 0809 it went sideways and then went right back up. So the values might have gone down, but rent didn't, because people still always need a place to live. So
correct. Now there's a third option where you can room up with your friend or live in family, but that's short term, right? Anybody who's who at a dating age doesn't really want to have to tell their potential dating partner that they're living with their mom and dad, or they're still rooming up at age of 35. So that's temporary.
I don't know if you've talked to millennials recently. That's very common, actually.
For 2020, yes, that's kind of starting. But 50 states across, that's probably, I think, we're in a brand new environment now, right? Thanks to COVID. So things are starting to change a little bit. But that's what I advise other people who are starting out doing real estate investment. Always think about how you can still make money while you sleep. That's the ultimate freedom, right? Real estate, I find your niche. I found it through real estate because with scale, you can hire property management company. So they're my first line of defense. Plumbing issues, so on and so forth, I'm not getting called. I'm only called for major catastrophe. If you're managing or doing single family rental, you're not that far away from the property manager because you don't have scale. So that's a good example of money still coming in while you sleep. And as soon as you can get up to that level, replace your W-2, then you can do this thing anywhere.
That makes sense. Okay, so now you've quit your job. How did you transition from going from being a former W-2 employee to I'm going to buy an apartment complex? What got you to there?
Definitely did not do it through cold turkey. So I went through an education program, Brass Rock. So it's all about learning the trade, right? Just like going to college. If you want to be a doctor, you don't just look up a book or watch YouTube video and say, now, hey, I can be a dentist or be a surgeon. You definitely want to go through formal education and have a little certificate that says, I know how to do it, right? So, learn it from somewhere. I started off on bigger pocket, just like everybody else, and try to do the fix and flip. And I realized it's harder to scale in a single family side, but on a commercial side, it's so much easier. Get that education. I like to pay for education because at least there is a group of defined information that that it's been tested and can be achievable. If you just go on free education, at least for me, I work for someone else, but for me, I was getting a lot of free opinion through free education. You don't have to go big. You can go small, or you can go small and then go big. There's so many different opinions. They probably all work, but there's so many. For me at the time was too much choice that I didn't know which one really worked, because that would be my first deal. So after paying the education, fast forward, I was able to buy 204 units, San Antonio, Texas, with partners that I met through the ecosystem, and then go from there. So having that first 204 unit gave me some passive income. And then when I get to the next one, I was able to add in more. And through, hang on a second, guys. Hello. You want to say hi?
Is that the one whose birthday it was recently?
Actually, her birthday is today. So we just I have 4 kids. So it was the oldest daughter's on the 20th, and today's hers.
Chris needs a lot of properties to cover those kids. So yeah. All right. Chris is gonna take a small time away. I'm gonna fill in the middle part by just talking to the people in the group again. So who here is living with their parents? Let's go with John Hugh. Are you living with your parents at all? And if you were in your 30s, would you still live with your parents? If it, yeah. John Huh? You? Huh? Huh? John Huh? Is that it? Okay. Oh, never mind. Chris is back. Okay, so Chris, we were talking about living with our parents and how there's nothing wrong with it, but also how it could also be nice to have passive income. Could you explain again, essentially, you got this passive income. How else did you, where else did you take it next after that first apartment complex?
So mine was having that basis of passive income, right? And then have enough savings. And as timing would happen, if you kind of go back to where I was talking about, right? 2008 was a market crash. And then you had 2018, they'll lay me off. And guess what happened in 2020, right? There was another market correction. So I knew another layoff is coming. And sure enough, I got laid off. So I'm like, hey, you know what? Why look for another job when it's destined that I need to be doing real estate full time? So it was a timing, plus I was prepared. So then I was able to transition into full-time real estate investing, managing my property, keep finding for deals, and then keep going for my family.
So it might be a personal question, but how much savings did you have? Like how many months? Let's start with that. How many months of savings did you budget for yourself? And how much did you save for like business even, right?
So it wasn't a lot. I originally budgeted for 1 year. Okay. But then my wife didn't know about that I have quit. So of course, you know, the spending never shrunk or adjusted, and then actually starting to run out at 9 months. So, but you know, as luck would have it, COVID-19, we all know what happened, right? Government was giving out a lot of money and so on and so forth. So, you know, whatever qualifies you, you take it, right?
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. And then, so how do you go about, so yeah, you got this education, you have a year of savings. And so when you left the W-2, what was the one thing that you miss the most, I guess, about your job? And if you don't, what do you like, I guess, what is it about your current work every day that that makes you feel, I don't know what the right wording for it is. Like, do you feel more fulfilled now that you've left your W-2? Like, I know everyone imagines doing it at some point, but what happens when you're actually on the other side? How do you feel every day now compared to when you're working? Good
question. So now I've been doing this for about almost 2 years now, full time. I can tell you, I am more busy than my W-2 job. Okay, because finding a deal is not that easy. And Nelson and I walked a couple of properties together. It takes a lot of underwriting, visiting property. I look at a good 90 properties, underwriting one way or another, before I can find one that buys, right? So that's all time that goes into it, plus managing the ones I currently have. So from a transition perspective, the before and after, a lot more busier than before. What I miss about W-2 is the safety net, right? No matter how busy you get on W-2, you know that check is coming every 2 weeks, right? Even if you're on a on a lazy side. As long as you don't get a day off, you don't have to do any work. Instead, that 2 weeks still comes, right? But on this side, when you're doing full time, you become the hunter. You always have to go out and hunt where that deal is. So if you don't get it, if you don't have that passive income, it's zero, right? So that's the main difference between the two. Don't feel like, at least in the very beginning, until you get to a large scale, then you can kind of relax a little bit more. But as soon as I had to go through the initial cutover, it was a lot more busy work than now. My wife even complains that I'm not home as often as I was in W2.
Yeah, I am actually also in the same situation. I feel like I spend more time working now than I do when I was working. Going full time, you don't really shut off. That's something like you know, people encounter a lot. You're always on call, you're always texting, you're always engaging in it. But some people really like that environment.
But you do know one thing that I want to tell everybody, and it's kind of like, you don't understand. You hear the story, but you don't understand it until you're in it, right? It's like eating a spicy food. People keep talking about spicy food, right? But until you taste it, you're like, oh, that's not spicy enough, or oh hell, this is way too spicy. But it's more of a personal thing. Now that on my second year, I now learn to hire people to do a lot of redundant work. So now I'm quote unquote starting my own little company, because now I have employees who does a lot more of the groundwork. So a lot, you know, kudos to my assistant who does a lot of my YouTube videos and making things pretty. I'm terrible at making things pretty. So if you go to my YouTube channel, all that fancy snazzy, that's all her, right? It'll take me forever to do that, and she can get it done overnight.
Yeah, I need one of those assistants.
Yeah, let me know. I can hook you up. I can help you with some of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you kind of start having a mentality like, okay, and then this is where I advise even my kids, right? Some of the Asian mentality, we always get stuck in saying, okay, I, as the business owner, I need to do everything. I got to keep all this secret, right? It's a secret sauce so that people don't copy it and then I lose my business. And commercial real estate, it's more about we. I have talked to more partners who's equally interested in making money together versus trying to steal my secret sauce, right? So it's actually making it hard for you if you do this commercial real estate full time to say, I want to do my own video, I want to do my own posting, I want to do everything me. Then you end up getting a new job really and not better off than before. So give away as much as you can. And there's multiple ways that you can find lower and cheaper labor. And now you have more freedom focusing on high transaction, high dollar activities.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I think one thing that's been really interesting is like learning to use other people as well. You know, when you're at a company, you're usually stuck in one role, and then you have 12 hats now as an entrepreneur. And oftentimes you're trying to find other people to wear hats for you. So like, no, that definitely makes sense. I'm terrible at hiring people. You know, Annie knows this. My assistants aren't always the most helpful. And so but the mistakes that you make are a lot more, you get to at least make them, right? Unlike, you know, having to pay for someone else's mistakes if you were working at a company, for example. And so that's kind of the nice part. At least I get to own up to everything that I screw up. And unlike Chris, I have no kids or family. Just a lot of mortgages I have to pay, but you know, that allows me to take these risks. And so that was actually going to be my next question. How do you lie to your wife long enough that they are okay with you becoming this full-time real estate? Like if you have a partner or spouse, how did you work it out with your partner or spouse that you are no longer going to do your W-2?
So my wife is very special. So there's no other one that's the right fit for me than her. So, and I'll tell you kind of this crazy story. When I first started doing that real estate education, I told her that, hey, honey, I'm going to start a side gig and do this and that. The only thing she says is, as long as you come home every night, I'm okay. So, but then in order for me to get to my first deal, I actually spent 6 figures before a penny came back. So there's something that you guys probably would want to mentally prepare. buying an apartment, especially 204 units, that was a $12.5 million purchase. So even before closing, the GPs were giving out, were prepaying, gosh, just my side of it was about 40,000. And then I pay about 25,000 for education and all the different business trips to Dallas and so forth, right? And then I put in another 50,000 into the property itself as a passive investment. All said and done, I had about 6 figures into that deal prior to closing. So if that didn't close, my family would be out a whole year's salary, right? But to my wife's point, and that's why I owe all my success to her. She's like, hey, I don't need to know about money as long as, and she even told me this, and this is the exact quote. She says, just let me know as you're doing your real estate investment if we need to cut our family expenses. And then she won't even ask a second question about where the money went. She would just eat ramen noodle if we need to, right? That's what she told me too. So I had a very, very special wife who was very supportive of me. And then I had that conversation. Thank you, Annie. And I had that conversation. I still remember it vividly after the deal was closed. And I said, honey, we need to have a talk. And you can just see her eye just lit up, right? Like in that scared deer in the headlights, she's like, oh crap, Chris is going to divorce me and something like that, right? And I kind of ease onto the conversation and I say, honey, I've been doing real estate and, and I spent $25,000 plus all the travel expenses, everything else for the real estate. She's like, where have you been hiding $50,000 from me the whole time? And I said, honey, that's not all the story. Hang on a second. And then I explained to her the whole thing I just told you guys. And her only reaction is like, how the hell did you hide 6 figures from me without me knowing and get through all that, right? And then her second comment was, at least it's better than what I originally thought you were going to say. So that was my funny story, and she's now trusting me more about how to spend money wisely.
So that's your tip. You go to your partner and you say, hey, I'm breaking up with you. Just kidding, it's real estate, like that's.
Yeah, you can tell her, it's like, you want me to cheat on you or do you want me to spend money on real estate? Don't ask question either way, but pick one.
Okay, so I guess that kind of like leaves us there at the end of the questions I really wanted to ask. I just have one last follow-up is, how do you feel like being Asian has affected you in the commercial real estate world, or does it at all?
How does being Asian affect me in commercial real estate? On the commercial real estate side, not as much. So going back to that team mentality, every time I go to a conference that's anywhere from 300 to 600 people, you don't see like a high school behavior where, everybody kind of clan up in their own individual groups, right? When I approach somebody and I say, hey, my name is Chris and blah, 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 the conversation doesn't cut short because I'm Asian. Conversation cut short when we are probably 5 minutes into a conversation, realize I'm not a value add to their team. So anyone who's wanting to get into commercial real estate and wanted to have partners, make sure I believe in this book called Strength Finder. Okay. So forget about everything that W2 and the corporate world teaches you about how you want to be well-rounded and all that BS. What you really want to know is focus on your strength. Therefore, you know what your expertise are and what your bad and weakness are. So then when you're in that open environment, you'll be able to say, oh, hey, Nielsen's really good with setting up large conferences and so on and so forth. I'm the numbers guy. So now I can go to Nielsen for, hey, let's get on a conference call like this, talk about deals, where I don't have to spend as much time trying to talk to 3,000 people. And there are other people who are just fanatic at numbers, right? So that person will not be a good fit for me because he and I will be doing, or that girl will be doing the same thing as I am. So make sure you understand what your strength is. And then when you meet that person, then you can mentally see where everybody fits into places.
Got it. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. I agree with as well, especially when in commercial side, it's a lot more team based rather than like individuals. When you're in the residential side, which is like, hey, don't figure out who I'm using as my contractor. Hey, don't figure out who I'm using as my agent. I want to like keep these deals for myself, when a lot of these bigger projects, you need to partner with people in order to get bigger. Okay, so on that, I'm going to keep going and asking some questions. One of which is, let me see here. Okay, how's that with your mom? Okay, so Chris, yeah, let me see. What is one of your biggest, like if you were to start over, what is one thing you would do?
I would do everything sooner, right? Because I think for the masses, we're being filled with unhelpful tips. Okay, because if you remember your corporate world, if you're still on W-2, all the managers telling you do better, right? You know, keep getting better at your coding, getting better at your management skills, you know, learn something else, whatever it is, right? When I became manager, I realized that's all lies, because they really want to keep your salary, which is an expense, low. So kind of get out. If one tip, one major takeaway for all you guys is, if you're waiting for someone else to give you a salary, that's never long lasting. Okay, you really want to make sure that you get into a mode and think like the rich people. How do you not have to be there and the income still come, right? Everything else away from that mission is a distraction towards the goal. Just as we talked about in corporations, everybody wants to, as a W-2, everybody wants to become the next manager, the next director, the next CEO. Well, I'll tell you what, the world cannot be full of CEO. If so, who's doing the work? CEO doesn't do any work, right? They don't go out and sling code. Elon Musk doesn't build Tesla. He draws a diagram, approves things, and other people build it for him. If we all CEOs, then nothing gets done. So there's got to be a massive lie, if you want to call it that, or some type of misbelief that keep all these people still stuck to the keyboard. While the smarter people who woke up from these incorrect information, now they can start thinking about, how do I leverage other people's time to make money for me while I go on vacation in Hawaii? So I would wake up from that sooner and get into real estate sooner.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I'm dumb. I'm not the smarter person. I'm definitely the lazier one. That's how I got here, right, Annie? You and me? Yeah, lazy. Hell yeah. Okay.
We need a difference too between us. We're both kind of lazy.
Yeah, we need someone else to do the work. It's too much right now. Okay. Tech asks, where from and how did you hire assistants? I got one from the Philippines. I went through a company. We did a group interview. I liked her, and I think I am having troubles though with like learning how to delegate and give like the roles properly. I've given tasks, but you know, I'm learning as well how to like actually give tasks, and so I don't think I really efficiently used her, especially since I am also learning the process of trying to teach someone else what I'm doing, and it's kind of hard since it feels like you're building something like a parachute on the way down, for example. And so I can send you the service. The company was called Hustle Pro, and what they did was they put 6 candidates in front of me, and of the 6 candidates, I like 2 of them because they were able to communicate the best. I just, you know, listened to who has the best internet access and like the least accent, so that we can sort of communicate better. You know.
Hey Nielsen, are you using your VA just for commercial real estate?
No, I'm using them for SARE, a lot of SARE stuff. And then okay. For the commercial real estate stuff, I haven't even brought her onto that because I don't know how easy it is to bring her over for stuff. Are you using yours for underwriting? Is that why?
No, I'm not using her for underwriting, but I use her for commercial real estate. And it takes me 3 months to train her to even, you know, kind of use the lingo, right? Because most VA, they're based out of Philippines.
Right.
Their exposure to real estate industry is residential.
Yep.
So they don't understand, you know, 506C, 506B. what I was going to offer you, if you want to use yours in that capacity, I can have mine train yours.
Oh, that'd be great.
Time.
I would love that. Yeah. Yeah, I'll pay her to get trained. Yeah, I would love to have that.
Yeah, I even sent mine to social media training, marketing training.
We need one of those. Yeah, we definitely need one of those. So,
well, let me know. She does.
Okay.
She handled. I mean, I oversimplified, but if you go look at anything that is out there, anything that's pretty, it's all hers, including social media posts, YouTube videos, photographs, and you name it. So,
got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look at anything I produced. If you need help in those area, let me know. And my gal's great at it.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay. Annie said, salary is what employers pay to make you forget your dreams. Agreed. Okay. Stephen Nee says, a popular website to find VAs is onlinejobs.ph. You can do that, but onlinejobs.ph is also like, it's like hit or miss. It's kind of like when you have job posting anywhere, you can get everyone. It's harder to like narrow down sometimes, right?
I'll even help you with this. I can even offer.
Yeah.
I can even offer you guys this help. So all these Upwork and online jobs and everything, it's a job posting area. So if you post a job, you end up with 50 requests. Right. So I actually have my VA now. My VA is so good. She go out. And, I'm about to hire the third person. Okay. So she goes out and interview and screen the people for me. And then I just shortlist and do that. So if you guys need help in finding VA, let me know what you're looking for. I can get my VA to pre-screen for you.
Okay. Yeah. Virtual assistants, they can be very helpful if you know how to use them properly, unlike me, so. Okay. Erwin Cham said Upwork. Yeah, that's another place to find them.
Anyone can get off the mic and just ask me a question or ask Nelson or Annie.
Yeah, you guys don't have to wait for me to read them off, but I do have a question. It says, what are some tips on how to network when you're a complete newbie? It feels like there's a lot of pressure to provide value if you want to network, and it's intimidating. How do you usually do it when you go to these like conferences and you haven't bought anything yet that's like that big?
Maybe this might help. My mentality and what I teach my kids is this: if you don't ask, the default answer is no, which is still the same position you are today. But if you ask and you get an yes, and that's a win, right? So the more you ask, the more successful you're going to be from your current position. So imagine you just go to a conference and you never talk to anyone. You didn't meet anybody new, just like before you went, and you get the same amount of people you met when you leave. But if you start opening your mouth and just ask questions or talk to someone, you might end up with 3 new yeses. That's 3 new people you met. So then that's a win. You don't have to go out and try to know 50 people, right? Or at least get into a team. Don't do that. Just kind of have that mentality. Hey, if I don't do anything, I just wasted my time for coming here. So now that I paid for it, I drove my butt over there or spend the money to be in a hotel, I need to at least talk to somebody. So that's step number 1. Step number 2 is before you get to the conferences, you need to speak the lingo. Because what's happening is these special focus conferences, people are there to get something out of it. So they don't want to waste time and teach somebody that completely doesn't know what's going on. So nobody's going to, like these conferences we go to is anywhere from $300 to $5,000. Nelson, I think you just went to one that's $10,000, right?
No, it was 600.
Oh, okay. So the most expensive one I went to was $6,000.
Is the real estate guys one?
The real estate guys.
Yeah.
2 days.
They have like they have one in Belize or whatever, like on a cruise. And
I really want to go to the cruise one, but yeah.
Yeah, I did not spend that much. It was $600 for me, and I was like, yeah, this is already like, I'm pushing myself here. I only did it because I just exited out of COVID, and I was like, all right, I'll splurge for one.
$600 for real estate guys, that's very cheap.
Really?
Okay. Oh yeah.
All right.
But so imagine somebody that pay money, they're not going to sit down with you for 3 hours, just say, okay, the difference between 506B and 506C is XYZ, right? They're out there wanting to get something out of their $300, for example. So make sure you speak the lingo and make sure you have the right mentality before going in.
Yeah, definitely on the lingo part, doing enough walkthroughs with Chris as well, I started picking up on things like, oh, what's the whisper price? Oh, what's the, you say certain terms that hopefully get the broker to think like you're not just a goofy kid coming and visiting the property. So yeah, and it's definitely a big part of it is like trying to at least seem like you're educated on the subject, right? That works better than going from nothing at all and then trying to like break in.
So let me kind of frame this way. I'm an IT guy, right? 22 years career, became a realtor, was trying to do wholesaling, fix and flip. I even did Airbnb myself, right? And I also did full regular rental, and then now multifamily. Out of all that, multifamily was the easiest. Okay, I didn't have to learn as much, like, okay, what's the ARV? How do I estimate a fix and flip and all that stuff, right? Because now I'm very sensitive to the cost of lumber prices during COVID. I mean, we all know that shot up through the roof, and everybody who's trying to fix and flip now got screwed. I didn't have to deal with those lingos. I'm more about, hey, what's the whisper price? What's the cap rate? What's the reversion cap rate? How much return I'm getting, blah, blah, blah. My language is very, very minimal and very repetitive. So for you to learn that, it's pretty easy if you have like all you guys are pretty much doctors in IT fields. I think doing our W-2 job was a lot more harder than doing commercial real estate.
Yeah, it's kind of
very easy to learn.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, I learned all this calculus and all I'm doing is adding, subtracting Excel sheets, so. I ain't doing that adding, subtracting anymore. You just like plug them into the boxes and then the math does it for you,
And also, so let's talk about money, right? Asian people love talking about money. One of the things that I thought was surprising, nobody taught me this. When I got into the 204 unit, I mentioned that I invested 50,000 myself, right? Because being a GP, my first year, I think I got back anywhere from $25,000 to $30,000, and I didn't have to put the work in there. So if you were making six-figure salary, that's 30% without having to be there 8 to 5. So mathematically, I can buy 3 more properties just like it, and I'm done.
Yeah. Right. Which we're under contract for a 90 unit in Florida. That's a lot of fun. Yeah. So
that's going to be a nice little nugget there. But it's now so exciting to me because for me, like, think about how I transitioned. I was doing a 6-figure W-2 while side hustle doing a 204 unit. And that first year, I effectively just increased my regular salary by 30%, right? Unless you're a pre-IPO in a company or something like that, generally companies' bonuses is anywhere from 8 to 10. When I was working for HP, it was 0. So that's why it excites me so much to say, hey, I just keep doing buy more. And that's it. So don't feel like you have to keep doing a W-2 is the wrong way to do it. Okay. And if that doesn't scare you, the other scary part is Kobe Bryant. He's making tons of money. All of a sudden, he just died. Anyone could just die. And think about what happened to your family when you're 40 years old and you just die. So that's an unplanned event. And I even trying to correct that myself. I don't have the proper life insurance and trust and set in place and so on and so forth. I'm getting to that. But make sure you guys remember, death is a surprise to everybody. Nobody scheduled their death. So if you're not prepared and it's going to be a major detrimental thing to your family, then you need to plan ahead and control that.
All right, everyone, we're all going to die one day. That is Chris's advice. Okay, Derek.
There's two things in life is certain: death and taxes.
Yeah, Derek asks, what is your most successful fundraising tactic?
Fundraising tactic. As corny it sounds, when I'm not asking for money. I used to be a car salesman. So being a salesman, you're trying to close the deal, right? Hey, buy. If you're fundraising, people can feel that you're trying to pressure them into something. I'm more successful by just telling people like, hey, here's what's going on. All right. 92 units in Florida. We're JVing the whole deal. Okay. No investor is coming in. Okay. Why we do that? Because we can more than triple our money by the time it's 5 years. So, you miss out on this opportunity. But if you want to be on it next time when I find these unicorn deals, then let me know. Next thing you know, all the people sign up for wanting to know how I did it or be part of it. But if I'm telling them 92 units, hey, put in $100,000, man, 5 years later, it'll be $300,000. The first thing pop in their head is, what's the catch? Right? That's when they feel like you're selling them something. So my most successful closing tactic is, you want it or don't like it. I mean, you want it or not. I mean, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just letting you decide. So that's it.
Yeah. But yeah, it's exciting. It's another property. And this is a big JV for what it is. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see. Okay, Steven asks, how is your experience with short-term rentals, Airbnb, etc.?
Airbnb is great. I strongly advise anyone who wants to do residential, do Airbnb. Okay, because for the same house, what had happened is 2005 for working for Dell, I bought a brand new house that I'm living in. And then as I move out, I've turned into a regular rental for $1,500 a month. And then during the craze of Airbnb, I turned it just to try it. I doubled it. What's $1,500, I'll average $3,000 a month. Okay, so I mean, it was great. I love it. And it's not even, what was it? It was like 65% occupied. It was not churning out like crazy. But first year broke even because the amount of money I had to put in for furniture and all that stuff. Everything after that is great. So highly recommend anyone to do it.
Okay, got it. And then Jack asks, what is your favorite networking source for people who are interested in investing with you for capital people? What's your favorite networking source?
Networking source, LinkedIn, Facebook, and I really like going out to these virtual meetups. I think going to physical conferences, one of the surprising gift was as part of COVID-19 is virtualize everything. Okay, I can be in more places and meet more people than ever before. If I go to conferences, if it was a California conference, majority of them is going to be California. If it was a Dallas, Texas, majority of it's going to be Texas people. So you're very regionally divided. But if you do these virtual meetups, I mean, somebody from Japan could join in and participate. So yeah, virtually and social media.
Okay. Question, somebody asked, Kashav says we know how to avoid taxes now. Hilarious. We do. Through aggressive depreciation, bonus depreciation. That's how. Okay. Isaac asked, what was the name of the course that you took when you started, and would you recommend it, I guess, to everybody else?
So I was part of the Brad Sumrock education group. Here, I'll put that in there. Brad Sumrock. And the website is bradsumrock.com. It worked for me because at the time I'm still an engineer. So mine was very linear thinking, right? I need to know step by step how the number works, the explanation behind that. So Brad Sumrock's education program was very straightforward enough for me to digest very quickly. There's so many different education programs out there, like Michael Blanc, Rock Cleve, and anybody who has more than 1,000 units nowadays is selling education. And their way of calculating can go very vanilla to very, very complex. So pick one that's comfortable for you. I have CPAs that think Zoom model is too vanilla and they go into the deep end. It works for you.
Gotcha. Okay, Erwin Shem says, do your homework by searching city name short-term rental ordinance. Yeah, you would want to double check if it's legal in your city. I think we had somebody post about it a while back. They put, they bought a property in Fredericksburg and then somehow the zoning changed on them and now they can't do short-term rentals and they're bleeding a bit of money every month as a result. So
yeah,
after quite a bit of rehab. So double check it if you're doing Airbnbs. It's definitely its own niche. But yeah, you're saying something, Chris?
Yeah, check the city and also check HOA. CD sometimes allows it and HOA will not allow it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, let's see. Question Vince asks, what are the minimum units you would invest in? For example, like for a deal size, anything under 20 units, or like would you only go bigger than a set number?
If you're partnering with people, the bigger the better. Okay, in commercial real estate, the bigger you get, the better deals you get. Okay, and I'm explaining this in multiple fashion. I have friends from the same group and people I met start off with 30, 24 units, and they need to change management company. Majority of management company will not want to take on the 24 units. But when I need to change management company for 204 units, a lot more management companies is willing to talk to me because dollar and cents, right? The 3% on a 204 unit sometimes could be 6 figures for them. 24 units, probably 30,000. So would you rather make 30,000 or 100,000? So scale do matter. I mentioned if you partner with people, go bigger because now the pie that you cut is now justified for your time. If you're doing a 24 unit, your NOI for the whole year might be 50,000. If you put 5 people on there, who wants to really spend time for $10,000 over to a month? Not that many people, right? They might tell you yes, but they're like, oh, don't bother me, right? But if you do that at a 204 unit, that NOI over a year could be $50,000 per person.
The alternative to that is on the smaller projects, if you're local, like we're partnered with the property managers. So they're involved on the GP side, which is why, they're okay with taking on like a smaller, maybe 18 unit and now like doing 50 units, but like, it might not be the 100 that, like a professional property management company will want, but there are people who operate within their city that will go smaller because they already have a staff and team and they might already manage like 200 something units like our partners do. So
yeah, and also think about what you bring to the team. Maybe you're Mr. Do-It-All who's a handyman and can handle smaller property all by yourself. That's good, a way to do that. And I know people who've done it. Matter of fact, our Austin MFM, our guest, he was a maintenance supervisor and now he's multi-millionaire doing commercial real estate. So you can do it as one person, but you got to find what your specialty is. And if that specialty fits in a smaller unit, go for it. Don't wait. The worst thing about real estate is waiting. Don't ever wait. If you got something that you know is going to work, trust your gut, buy it. The true statement about real estate is you buy real estate to wait. You buy real estate and wait, not wait to buy real estate. Okay. It gets more and more expensive every day.
yeah, it really does. Okay. Question, last one from Andy Lim. When you're fundraising, is there a methodology by which you determine how many people you need to fund the deal? Or do you just keep raising funds and see what happens? Like, how do you determine what the minimum buy-in is for deals that need a lot of capital?
Minimum buy-in?
Yeah, like,
okay.
Do you have 50,000 for some deals?
Oh, 50,000 versus 10,000 kind of situation?
Yeah. How do you set
it? First thing is to determine whether you're doing a 506C or 506B. If you're doing a 506B, your non-accredited investors is capped at 35 people. And then everybody after that needs to be accredited. So the math will speak for itself. If you need to raise for $10 million and you take out 35 people, then you probably need $100,000 per 35 people, therefore get you 3.5 million. And then you can ask the remaining 6.5 from accredited investor. And then you quickly ask yourself, well, how many non-sophisticated have 100,000, right? If the answer is not many, then if you reduce that, now you gotta have a bigger lift at the accredited investor, right? So just figure out which one you're gonna go and then let the math tell you how much you need. If you're on a smaller, and then on the flip side, if you're doing 506C, which is 100% accredited, you can have unlimited amount of investors. So now you could say, hey, I know Warren Buffett and all their relatives and so forth, and I can get 1,000 accredited investors put in $100,000 each or $10,000 each and get my goal very quickly. So now you have more flexibility. So let the rule, play within the rule. The rule will guide you to where you need to be. Hope that answered the question.
Got it. Okay. Well, I think that's it for our time. Do you have any last moments or words you want to say, Chris, that you want to talk about?
Yes. So if you guys want to reach out to me, the easiest way to find me is go to my website, christaorealestate.com, my name and what I do. And then be a supporter if you don't mind. Go to my YouTube channel. Go to YouTube and search for christaorealestate.com. There's a lot of good content about how to invest in Austin and other tidbits that I put in there. So if you like any of it, please like and subscribe.
All right. And then Annie, do you have any announcements specifically about our Texas trip?
Yes, because everyone keeps asking. All right. So if you want to meet Chris Tao in person, we will be meeting him up in Austin over in November. The whole Texas family or the whole Sayre family, we're going to be heading out to 3 cities, Houston, Austin, and Dallas from November 5th to November 12th. We currently have over 30, actually, yeah, we just hit the 30-person mark. 30 crazy people coming to meet us, not even including the locals. All right. So this is going to be a huge trip. We got a lot of fun things planned. I'm especially, I've never been to a lot of these places, so I'm picking the most stereotypical Texan things.
Annie has like 12 units in Texas and she hasn't visited most of it, just so everyone knows.
16, almost 20. I'm closing on my 20th, and I've only been to Houston for about 3 days total in my entire life. So
there you go.
Yeah, so I'm bringing a whole lot of people to come with me to check out what the heck I bought online. It's a giant Amazon order, I guess, over in the Texas side. So come and visit us. We're going to have a lot of fun things planned, a lot of agents, a lot of activities coming forward. We will be releasing more of the schedule next week or so once we finalize the hotels and everything, and we'll let you guys know. So
book flights though. Book flights. Book
your flights. Book your flights. We got
hotels,
your rides covered in Houston, and then we'll get rental cars for the next 2 days.
If you guys come to Austin, just a little bit of surprise for you all. I'm going to actually walk you guys through the Airbnb that I set up on my YouTube video. So you get to see the finished product, and we can probably have a little powwow and ask more questions there. And I'll tell you guys, my lesson learned on why we set up this particular Airbnb this way. And it's achieving very good success. I think the highest rate charge was $700 a night.
How big is this place?
4-bedroom, 18, no, just at 2,000 square feet, 4-bedroom.
Yeah, this is why I have to go and check it out.
My Airbnb was charging $125 per night, and this one was $700 a night.
Gotcha.
Was this like a multi-million-dollar place though?
It's not. It's complete. If you didn't know the neighborhood, you would never realize that there's an Airbnb there. There's a reason why I did decorate it that way to draw the attention. So I think hopefully that was part of the success.
Got it. Well, either way, let's check it out when we get to Texas. Annie put in a lot of work into this. George, mostly Annie. I have put some work into it. George has put some work into it. It's mostly Annie. So you got to show up for her, guys. Come on. If you're trying to invest in Texas, now is probably a great time, especially since we're having a lot of agents, speakers, and a lot of these like site walks together. We learned a bit from when we did the North Carolina field trip. And so we're really about to double in size from the last trip. And so it was a lot of fun, I believe, from the last time. And there's been quite a few people who bought since that, field trip. So you could be you in Texas. So, all right. Check out the Facebook event, just look it up. And thank you again for your time, Chris. We're going to call it a
No
night
problem.
though. Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. Reach out if you have more questions.
Yeah. Have a good night, everyone.
You gonna wear a mask on the camera?
Oh, I got to take an Uber.
Oh, gotcha.
All right. See you guys.
See you guys. Bye-bye.